The cows are back. I'm just going to turn the camera around. I have my tripod set up like this. So it has a horizontal mount on it. And we're going to just try something different today. Totally different. I mean, something never before done on this channel before, ever. Maybe. But anyway, those are the cows. They came back this morning. I just wanted to make sure that you all got to see the cows again, because who knows when they'll next be back. And tonight I have my Zoom writers group. So I'm not going to be doing a live that's close to sundown. And tomorrow morning, taking my mom to a doctor's appointment. We've got to get out of the house at we got to be leaving at 9 a.m. to get there in time. So that means I ain't going to be doing no live on Tools of Fortune tonight. So I got to try to get to sleep early. Anyway, I know it's kind of not very exciting for those just looking at a bunch of cows and shit, but that's what we got started with. And I'm gonna I guess we'll turn the camera around and we'll get started with the never before seen thing, and we'll try to do this with the least amount of pain as possible. While I'm doing that, you can hear the birds chitter chatter, and can you see the orientation should be locked in the, I don't want it, okay, well, whatever's going on. I don't really know what's going on here. Okay. This may not work. It's kind of unsteady. It's kind of like falling over, and the whole thing's going to tippy. It's just so tippy. It's the same, so flimsy. What's that screen lock thing going on here? There it is. Now it's off. I think what I need to do is this whole thing is going to tip over. So this little shelf I have here, I know this is completely boring, and I'm really apologize for the boredom that you're experiencing in this moment. It's just so terrible when a content creator is boring and not all set up, and you're just looking at the ground. There ain't nothing going on down there at the ground. Come on, you mofo. Oh, mofo. Oh, fuck. Sorry about my language. I guess it's... Okay, stay. God damn thing. Okay, I should have practiced this before we started, but if I put a rock under this tripod leg, it should make it a little bit more steady. All right, hi Tapestry of the Unseen. I am bringing out of my... okay, this is some stuff here. This is some stuff that I've never showed you that I even had on this channel. And I've mentioned multiple times that I've taken drawing a few times and I've failed every single time. But this is my drawing equipment. These are charcoals. And these are charcoals. And this is like some stuff for some shaping and charcoal shaping. This is a charcoal pencil. I'll probably be using that. And these are my my other art supplies. And I'm going to put these back in here. Actually, I don't think I've ever used them before. So I'm going to use this pencil here. Okay. And I'm going to come in over here, and I have in this other kit, you like using charcoals, and so I'm going to get my gummy eraser, and this is my other kit. So this is the dry contents, and extra erasers, and some brushes that I never really use for, this is like a burnisher, so color pencil things. And I have a graphite pencil that I do use. I threw it in here, just straight graphite. This is just a 2B graphite pencil, and it's just a solid piece of graphite. And so I'm going to just be using. And so while I was being a caregiver and helping a elderly person to not fall down in the bath, I drew this and just did this. So this was just, it's just like shading with, taking away, using I just put a bunch of graphite down, and then I went to try to take it away. So we'll just maybe take this thing and try to take some of it away. And then I liked it because it brought some kind of a background in the background. And so the cows are out there. I did show the cows up front. So if you want to see the cows, you can wind the live stream back to the beginning, the first minute or two, and there are the cows. And so we're just going to start on a blank page. The wind is blowing because I live really, really close to the coast, and I live on a pass in the coast mountains. And so every day at 3 o'clock, the wind just whips on through. It just whips on through. Okay, we're just going to do some random thing, because I'm not going to try to draw like this tree that's right over here. If I stay quiet, you can hear the highway, which is about 0.8 miles away. And the birds were just chitter-chattering here. The cows were fighting, actually, while I was turning the camera on, or while I was getting the live set up and doing that. Okay, you're working with a client. Okay, good. I'll be on for like a half hour, then I got to start making dinner. And that's what I'm planning. My plans are anyway. And so maybe we'll take this piece of graphite. This is a sharpener. It's just a piece of sandpaper. I've actually been working with these for years, because the part of drawing that I didn't fail a long time ago was drafting. So when I took drafting in high school, and when I went to a community college, I was taking AutoCAD, and I preferred the, you don't have, but if you get what I see, but I preferred the kind of drafting that was all done by hand, and I did a fair amount. Maybe I'll just take some of this graphite and just throw it down on the page here. Maybe we can just use some of that. I don't know, just to have a light dusting of a background or something, just something like totally abstract. We'll just kind of twist that in, but if it was like a painting, wouldn't I just be taking this thing and just take this lightly and going in the background and having that energy, because I really like that energy. And so I'm just trying to treat this just like it was. Welcome Talik, Elminda. Can't pronounce your name. Portugal? I'm not in either of those places. I'm on the west coast of the United States. I'm like smack down, and I'm closer to the Canadian border than I am to the Mexican border. So we're just gonna put this stuff in here. Croatia or Portugal. The only place on the European continent I'd been was Denmark on a flight to Israel in 1995. Elminda, yes, welcome. I guess we'll have to do this. Let's try this. All right, there we go. I'm just gonna try something. I don't know what we're doing here. 4 people are looking in at any given time. Probably means what? Let's just take this out a little bit. I just want a little bit of color in the background. I feel like I just need to have a little bit of something so it's just not on a stark white background. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to go out live on Tools of Fortune tonight because I have to get up insanely early. Let's just see. There's like a apple tree right to my left side, and maybe something more abstract, like it's that tree that, oh, the wind. The wind is blowing my kit. Oh yeah, the wind is not cooperating. All right. It's really blowing. The tripod just about fell over. Can you please stay? This tripod is so flimsy, and so it's like maybe that'll work better, a little bit more stable that way. Oh, one of the cows were speaking. It's just so flimsy. And we're just gonna try and get some general shading, and I'm just using a tree that's in an apple tree in my background. Yeah. Oh well, what it works is that if a person comes in and is being really rude, then you just kind of push on you tap on their name, and then you put them in timeout. And so, but if they're like a Bart Simpson type of person, and they're making, like they're obviously like 13 years old, then don't do anything unless they get really super rude. That's just my thing, and so that's all. My general rules is like, okay, if it's just that if they are being nasty, if a person's being nasty with their language and everything else, then you can time them out, like, try for like maybe not like a 24-hour block, but something like that. It's just that's how that goes. That's the functionality there. But I was just kind of thinking here about, like Tree of Life and Garden of Eden, and okay, yeah. So, but if they're like, if a person's like a Bart Simpson kind of a character, and essentially, if you do live streams yourself, then you're gonna be running into this kind of stuff, and so it's a matter of how much riffraff you're willing to put up with. But when I'm doing these more artistic things, I'm actually willing to put up with a lot more riffraff than when, let's say, if you're doing a live tarot session, and someone comes in and starts, obviously they're looking for reactions, or Jesus saves, or something like that, because you know I have all those icons on my in my workspace, and when people start coming in with the Jesus Save stuff, I just pull one of those things out and it just kind of shuts them down. They either just go away or it just kind of shuts a person down. And that's really kind of like the power of those icons. All right, well, let's see what happens here. Because as I was like explaining, I was thinking of, yeah, so I'm just treating it like it's just a single color paint. I guess that's the best way. Maybe we'll come over the top here. Yeah, it's not too natural, but we'll just kind of work on it here. It's not like anything I see in front of me, but we are, wind's not blowing right now. Trying to get some texturing and, oh, I'm like completely, yeah, I was completely off camera. I'm sorry. I wonder if there's a way I can zoom out on this. Let's see if I can zoom out. Maybe that's as far out. Yeah, let's see about that. Let's see if I can zoom out further. Okay, there we go. I was asking my live oracle, what, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I was asking for, how would you title it? You know, you watched it, I was like thinking of how to, when I was doing it, I should have wrote down the titles. I had, like towards the last hour, I was like thinking, oh, this one's really good. Now maybe you don't, maybe this one's a good one, a good session, and so I started thinking about titles and, yeah, titling the live, yeah. But, you know, I didn't title it in advance, but it was just like, okay, so you want to, like, look at your titles and things in such a manner as, okay, timeless tarot reading. It's kind of boring. And you're looking at, and then so, but you know, you're coming in when you're going up front. Yeah, you have to come up with the title for every live. And sometimes when I get done, I go back and I retitle things. And so, you know, when I first started doing YouTube, when I released a video, I would, it was a lot better then, because it seems like things got played. I would modulate the titles as I went through the day. So if you went into my video section and you went to the early videos and down into the description, I kept a record of every single title that I used. And so my goals in titling was to do something that was clickbaity, but not a total fiction. So trying to, because that's, you know, you're playing the YouTube game, and so there's the thing of playing the YouTube game and what works for YouTube, and in that there's this, you know, clickbait, outright clickbait is not the best thing to do, because if a person watches your video and the title doesn't remotely, you know, is not remotely related to your content, it's just going to piss somebody off. At least that's what it does to me. And so the game you play, in the YouTube game you're playing is you're trying to turn up the excitement factor. You're turning up the excitement factor a little bit. And so I'm talking not just to you, Lila, but I'm also talking to everybody out there who's a new creator. And so that's kind of the thing that you're kind of trying to do. Because who is your audience? You have who your audience is, but then there's the potential audience, and there's those people who could potentially be your audience, and that is actually the people that you need to be speaking to a lot of the times. You speak to those potential people, and sometimes, and that's where that whole titles that reflect what is in your video, but are also just kind of exciting. Did I just freeze or something? I think I got like a reconnect sign. But anyways, I'm just treating this like I was painting. Maybe that's the best way. I know it's not very exciting, but I haven't actually tried to do drawing. I think the last time I tried to do drawing was like in 2017, maybe 2018, maybe 2019. I've been meaning to do that, but we're just doing things here, and I'm kind of doing this stream of consciousness because, and I'm not necessarily taking away, we're just working on it to make some branches, and kind of treating this charcoal pencil like it was a paintbrush. Maybe we'll put a little bit of an edge to this. Yeah. But Lila, as I mentioned in another video, maybe you didn't see that one, but I did it earlier this week. In that I do consider myself kind of a performance artist. See if we can take away. This is a gum eraser, and it helps to lift things off. I'm trying to make that experience of you're looking at the crotch of a tree limb here, and I'm actually looking at one right over there. I know it doesn't quite. It kind of looks realistic, but not really. Let's see. Let's just kind of come on. I don't really know what I'm doing. Forgive me because I'm not really, this is not really my, but maybe we'll come in here with my finger and we'll just sort of draw this stuff out. And so it's like there's something in the background and kind of sharp edges, and we'll kind of finger paint in here and add that energy of the sky in there a little bit in the background. And I can come back in over it and come up. But maybe I should have done that first. I did try to do that first a little bit, and we'll kind of just put this in here. All right. Wow. So you had a client and now you're back. Yeah, so anyways. We're just kind of making the background. 24 minutes in. We'll have to wrap this up, and then I'll turn the camera back on the cows. Anyways. This is actually more like an ASMR video for drawing. This is that person who just oh look, there's baby birds over there. You can hear them. I'll be quiet and you can hear the birds. They're just right up above their birdhouse. Can you hear the birds? Oh, then a few of them were flying by and having a little bird fight in the sky. It is like a little chickadee thing, and the swallows having a little bit of a territorial warfare thing going on. That's interesting, actually. It's not bad for someone who doesn't know how to draw and treating it like a painting. Maybe we'll take it and roll it over this way a bit. And now this is where it turns into like kindergarten art. Kind of coming up there, and you got this. Kind of move this down here like that and kind of fuzz it out. Got the fuzz going on. Get that fuzz. Maybe add some more curves into it. Some grass or something around there. A little chaos with the plant life. But here comes the wind again. Hopefully it's not going to blow everything over. The moral of this story here is don't buy a $30 tripod and expect it to work in a windstorm with a horizontal mount like this has. With every device, for indoors, the best tool that you can buy with a horizontal mount is a boom microphone stand, and you can go down to a pawn shop. That's the kind that has like a bend in it, so it's like it has a solid base, and then there's a bend in it, and so you can like bend the thing down. So if you wanted to mic a drum kit, or mic something that's low to the ground, you can bend it down that way. Well, that's what I use for my horizontal. Yeah, I can do a couple sandbags or something, and that's what I use for my horizontal mount in my craft, in my main stage setup, and that's in my craft room and everything. It's actually my bedroom, but you don't need to know that. But that's kind of what I use there. It comes in on the side, and it works. It works beautiful, except I can't get it any lower than it is. And you want to try to avoid using things like zoom, any kind of zoom features on your camera, because you really just want to because when you zoom things in, the picture gets kind of muddy, and that's anyways, that's just my experience. You want to physically move the camera farther away or closer to you, especially when you're using your phones and things like that, because well, anyways, if you know anything about cameras, then you kind of know about that. And one day, when I win the lottery, I will be able to buy one of those $5,000 cameras so that I can instead of using a phone to do this live stream, I can use one of those $5,000 cameras, and with, you know, the pieces of software and whatnot, so that it can like do, you know, the stuff that I want, not a webcam and nothing like that. I don't, or I can size it into, if I want to do it in a vertical live format, that I can do it in that format. And that's what those are the things I dream about. Wanting a good camera, but yeah, I just have little branches over there, fill out the tree a little bit. And if you notice, I'm holding the pencil. Hi, Mama Sushi, welcome. I think a sandbag, Lila, is going to be too heavy for this microphone, but something like that to weigh it down. Yeah, let's just kind of, just little strokes. Well, the cows are all out in the field chewing their cud. They got done, and they're not fighting anymore. They're just laying down, calves and everything. And they've had the bull in there for probably about a month, because working on trying to get them all bred up for the next year. All right. 31 minutes in, and all right, let's see what we got going here. Okay. Anyways, I tried to do a drawing. I'm just going to turn the camera around and do all that kind of stuff here. While I'm doing that, I'll just put this on the ground. Let's see how to twist up, kind of move it over, and show you those cows over there. So there's the cows over there. And see, they're just doing nothing. Let me see if I can swing this whole thing over to the one cow that's doing something. Half interesting, maybe. There's a cow right there. Maybe I can zoom into cow. And all right. How about that? How's that? I can't see it with the sunlight. It's not. It's kind of shining on everything. But there's the cows out there. Oh, whole thing just about fell over again. Oh, that was like the dirt that the damn thing was on was given out there. So let's see if I can pinch it up a little bit bigger. You know, Lila, I was absolutely amazed that last night I talked for like 2.5 hours or something. But you know, I started the whole live stream out with my prayers. I started out with my prayers. And you know, I don't know that I think I just felt more super inspired, but I did start out with my prayers. My intentions. I put those intentions out there in wanting to have that kind of, just wanting that. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because because you're a bit more in tune to listening to whatever it is that you think the guides are and whatnot. but that was kind of it's kind of what I don't know what I was thinking, but I do believe I felt like I was sort of tuned in last night. So that's like, and I was tuned in for a long time too, for what, 2 hours and 37 minutes. I mean, that was a long time to be tuned in. So let's just move this over here. Yeah, so you connect with what you call your spirit team. And so, yeah. Well, I know we all have them. So I just started out with saying my prayers and setting my intentions. And I set my intentions with what I was looking for, and within the realm of those cards that I was using. And I was kind of wanting to be lighthearted, and I wanted to set that intention for it to be lighthearted and not be something of but it did turn to have a big, heavier sort of. I'm sitting here with a Slayer t-shirt because one of the bands that I've seen more times in concert than any other is Slayer, but I haven't been to a concert. The last concert I saw was Iron Maiden in the fall of 2019. Before because Iron Maiden was one of my favorite. Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. I didn't question anything that really came into my head. I just sort of went with it. Yeah, I just went with it. But as I said, the last concert that I went to was Iron Maiden, which Iron Maiden was my favorite childhood band, and it was my first time seeing Iron Maiden, and it was in the fall of 2019 at the Moda Center in Portland. And then the year before, I went and saw Coldplay. And Coldplay was a more recent band that I like, and so, but then since then I haven't really listened to too much music, but I've seen Slayer multiple times I think 4 times. Not that it really matters, but the first time I saw Slayer, I want to think that it was like in the early 90s. And I think because the earlier concerts that I went to were like, yeah, you haven't been to a concert in a long time. Yeah, it's like, I'm just home all the time, and with my duties, it's hard to go to one. And I really don't like seeing music in bars either, because of how chaotic the energy is in those spaces. And a lot of it's that alcohol spirit it's really hard to take. And I don't like being around people who are intoxicated. That's just the truth of it. And and so being in bars and listening to music, to me, it's not really pleasant at all. Now going to a concert it's pleasant, and you get that focused energy, and that energy which is focused. Yeah, you never go because you're taking care of people, so you just don't get to go anywhere. Yeah. When I go someplace, I always take mom with me when I go. And if mom is not up to going anywhere, then I just don't go anywhere. But I stay on this property a lot, and you set them in there and you make sure that they're okay and all. And looks like there's a cow right over there that's trying to escape. But yeah. I just make sure that they go, and that's it. Now, occasionally, I do have my volunteer job once a month, and that's a real treat. And that's in the next town over. It's a place that I have my art for sale at. And then the volunteer job. Mom with her chronic issues is never really able to go to her church anymore. If she was able to go, then we would go there on Sundays. But she likes the Zoom church. Oh, I volunteer at a store. It's kind of like a multi-merchant store, so it has there's like 15, 20 vendors that have items in the store, and I'm one of the vendors who has items in the store, and I need to make more products because I don't have really anything recent in there. All I have is like old stuff, and so so if you have products to sell, then you can put them in there. Now there is one guy that has his products for sale in there, and he's a graphic artist in stage 6, so we can't take her anywhere except to the doctor's appointment. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah. And so one of the author guy, because his wife has like an autoimmune disorder or something, so he just stays home for himself. He never goes out. Now, like I think at the last art fair that we had, he was there, and I was really wanted to be in the same setup and room that he was, because I really, really wanted to talk to him, but he got sick at the last minute, and then he wasn't able to go, and I was kind of disappointing about that. But anyways, and that fellow as an artist is an amazing artist. I think his name is Tyler Crook. Tyler Crook, you can look him up. And he was from Crook County, Oregon, which is like in the northeast corner of Oregon, and so he writes these horror comics. And the horror comics are graphic novels about, it's called like Crook County, and they're really good. They're really dark, but they're good. So if you're into horror or horror comics or whatnot, I would look Tyler Crook up and see if you can get some of his physical books. Not, I'm sure he has stuff online. I think he has stuff online at like Instagram, but I don't have Instagram anymore. But anyways, I think it's time for me to cook dinner. I'm going to swing this thing around onto the cows one more time, so we can finish up here with, yeah. You don't like scary movies or books? Yeah. You know, the scary books are easier to handle than the scary movies. But yeah, so there's the cows. They're just hanging around doing nothing. Was listening to the birds chitter chatter a little bit. They're flying around. Okay. There was a notification that just went through. I could feel the tone of it vibrating through my hand. All right, well, you have a great night too. I'm gonna turn the camera off and then turn it off and start making dinner. All right, guys. Thank you for your support, and thank you for hanging out with me here today. And I'll be back probably tomorrow afternoon with another one of these shorts. I'll probably come out with my drawing kit again. But I need to find something a little better set up. If I come in earlier in the day, like at noon, then I shouldn't have the problems with this chintzy ass $30 horizontal mount tripod. I'll just show it to you here. Let me see if I can get it out without breaking. The camera clamp is... there we go. Let's go freehand here. And so this is my my cheap thing. It's really cheap. So as I mentioned earlier, don't buy a cheap tripod if you are a content creator. If you need a horizontal mount like this, go to a music shop, a guitar store, and buy a boom microphone stand, or just go into a pawn shop and see if you can find one. And then you can get, on the end, there'll be a screw that you can get, and you can, on the end of that microphone stand, there's a screw, a kind of an adapter that you can add to it, and then, which is it's a microphone camera mount adapter, and that's what it is. So you have and then you'll have one of these things, these kind of devices, your phone holder that you can put on it. And so for the horizontal mount, that's your best bet. And then if you want, they make other ones that are like more heavy duty, and so if you're going to be using like one of those $5,000 cameras like I was talking about, well, you're going to want something more heavy duty than that. But if you're just using your camera phone, the boom microphone stand is your bet. Oh, let's see, there's that bird over there. It's right outside his house. Oh, and look, there's another one right beside it. You see it? Just chitter-chattering away. There we go. Oh, look, they're fighting. This is so common for the creatures. They're like fighting all the time. And if you're like really lucky, then you might see like I saw a war in the sky once between like a dozen crows and a hawk. Because there's a hawk that lives in this valley. I wonder what the territory of hawks are. I wonder if it's kind of like a wolf. A wolf has like a 100-mile territory. Cougars, there's like lots of cougars in this area. They have like 3-mile territories. There's wild turkeys that live in this valley, and they're south. They're in the south part of the valley now. But yeah. And then there was, and I talked about this before, there was this totally amazing thing that I saw like I think 2 weeks ago now. And I watched a squirrel move its young. I was like on my patio out on the other side, and a squirrel, it moved its young clear down across the field there, all the way down to the creek line. It was like a real hot day. It was like 90 degrees or more, and it was moving. It was moving its squirrel and its baby in its mouth, and I could see the little feet hanging out of its mouth. And I was thinking, wow, what's going on there? And usually the squirrels are a lot more skittish, but this squirrel in this state that it was in, it trusted that I wasn't going to do anything to it, and it walked right within like just a few feet of my feet. And then because that was like the most safest route, I guess it thought. I don't know what it was thinking. And so while I was doing the this is what I was using as my example while I was doing this this here. It's not exactly alike, but it's something like it. I was using that as my my reference. Anyways, this is like a long Midwestern goodbye for someone who's not even Midwestern. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support, and I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow sometime with something cool. Maybe something cool. Hopefully it's not boring. Anyways, this is Bill, 999 Show. We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.